Hey there, welcome back to another tutorial from Cycle Points Planning with Astrology. This tutorial, I'm going to walk you through how to find out some of the information that comes with your birthday when you don't have your birth time available. So the best way to do that is to use what is called an ephemeris, and that's a tool that's used in astrology that you can look up the date of your birth and it will tell you where all the planets were, meaning what sign the planets were in at the time of your birth, which really gives you a huge amount of information in terms of how energies are influencing your life and how they influence your personality and your behavior and all the different life arenas that you walk throughout your life. And so I'm going to take you once again to astro.com. And when you punch in astro.com, it will bring you to this page. Again, as we walked through when we did how to create your birth chart, you can log out here and it will prompt you to go to here and create your own. When you do create a profile, it is free and it will prompt you then to create your first birth chart, which will be your birth chart. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put mine back in so we can sign back in here. Oops. And it will bring me here. I'm going to go ahead to my name again. And once I click on my name, in order to create something, I can go ahead and create my birth chart. I can create my birth chart in relevance to different times, different days, different years, different whatever. There's lots of different options, as I encouraged you before to please go ahead and just have fun and play here because there's so much you can do. But today we're going to focus on finding the ephemeris. So we're going to create an ephemeris. We're going to click on that one. And when we do so, it's going to do horoscope for me. That's Stacy Nyman. And I'm going to click on this section here where it says ephemerides. I'm going to choose an ephemeris for 1 year. And I'm going to choose that year to be the year of my birth, which is 1977. And that's all I'm going to give. So from here, I'm going to ask to show the ephemeris. And I'm given this PDF table. I and many astrologers use this table for all sorts of different things in terms of going back through cycles and learning more about doing major deep dives and also going to the future. You can put in any year and the table will come up for you so you're able to look at all these dates. So as you start to scroll, you'll see it just goes by month. And again, just like before, a lot of this might look like gibberish and hieroglyphics. It's really cool. And if you have a lens for it, it's fun to dive into it once you know what the planets and the representations are for the celestial bodies, right? So for example, this little circle with a dot over here, that's the sun. This, I'm sure you can imagine, is the moon. This is the symbol for Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, the North Node. This is a different symbol for the North Node. This is Black Moon Lilith, which I actually don't use or touch upon that often as of right now. And this is the symbol for Chiron. So these symbols all represent different celestial bodies that are up in the cosmos that are traveling through the different signs, just like the moon is. And these planets, these celestial bodies, take different amounts of time. That moon, if you watch my other videos and learn about how the moon travels through all the signs within 1 month, these celestial bodies have different time frames that they do so. So the sun, as we know, takes 12 months to travel. We're in each sign for 1 month. The moon, we go through all of them 12 times as we go through the entire year. Mercury varies, but it takes about a month or I'm not even sure because if it's retrogrades, it goes back and forth. And I'm not looking at that right now, but all of these take different times to go through. Mars takes about 2 years. Jupiter is a year, I think, to go through a full sun, maybe it's a bit more. I think we go through the whole thing in all 12 years. So that's how we start to look at this way. On the side, it will give you the day of the week and the date. So we're going to go all the way down to October because that's when I was born. And I'm going to blow this up so we can see it a little bit closer. And you can see that on October 2nd, it was a Sunday. I was born on October 2nd. So while I do know my time of birth, if I did not know my time of birth, I would be able to find out some very relevant information just by looking at this. I would be able to find out that my sun sign is in Libra. This symbol over here means Libra. And on the 2nd, the sun was at 8 degrees of Libra. I would be able to tell you that the moon was in Gemini. I would be able to tell you that my Mercury sign was in Virgo. My Venus sign was also in Virgo at 12 degrees. My Mars was in Cancer. My Jupiter was also in Cancer. My Saturn was in Leo. My Uranus was in Scorpio. My Neptune was in Sagittarius. My Pluto was in Libra. The North Node was also in Libra. And I'm going to skip over to Chiron, and Chiron was in Taurus. So what does all that mean? The sun is what we are striving to do, like what speaks to our heart in this lifetime, what we're striving to create, what we really, how we want to be seen and loved and admired. And I do, in my life, love to be seen as a peacekeeper. I do love the beauty and the harmony and the mediation and having people come together to work cooperatively and collaboratively. That was hard for me to say those two words. I do like all those things, but the rest of my chart definitely provides a lot of challenges to allow me to work within that in a good way at various different stages, as it would for everybody. I can tell you that the moon being in Gemini means that I get a lot of my security and comfort from communicating. Gemini is a sign of communication. It's a sign of processing information, communicating with others, figuring out plans and how to move forward. And I definitely, that makes me feel that level of comfort when I'm in that land. Gemini also speaks to community and close friends and siblings. And I alluded to this in my other tutorial, and certainly in some of the stuff that I post, that I have been very strong and have had significant relationships with my siblings that have had massive impact in my life. My Mercury being in Virgo is it's a very critical Mercury. Mercury is a thinker. It's also the ruler of Virgo. It's also the ruler of Gemini. So again, that information, that processing, being in Virgo, it's all about organizing the information, putting it together, developing the processes, which is very, very much what I'm delivering here. In terms of me creating a system of how to help people move through transitions and understand their personal behaviors better. That's so me in so many different levels across every career that I have followed in my lifetime as of yet right now. Venus speaks to love. Mars speaks to anger and drive and energy. Jupiter speaks to healing and luck and benefits and expansion. And Saturn speaks to rules and your own self-authority. I'm not pointing, but I'm going through all of the different planets that are lining up top. Uranus speaks to unexpected change, the things that happen that are so unexpected, that come from out of the blue, and how then we adapt to that, how it changes things. Neptune speaks to ideals and rose-colored glasses. Pluto speaks to taking things apart in order to put it back together in a better way and advance it forward to evolve it. The North Node speaks to our fate. My fate is in Libra. That's about learning how to develop these relationships that are harmonic in my lifetime. And that's a huge piece for me. And then Chiron speaks to the wound. How are we wounded? How is our self-esteem, impacted by certain things and certain traumas or events that have taken place in our life? So when you work with me, if I don't have your time of birth, I am able to take all this information and I'm able to dive in a lot further. The other way that we can do this is by still creating a birth chart. However, we're not going to know exactly where everything lined up. So if I go back to astro.com and I go back to the section where I'm just asking it to create a wheel. If I want to add, so let's add me in, and I'll just do this again with my name. And I'll put in the 2nd of October, 1977. I'll put in female, but I will not put in time. So I will put in unknown. I was born in Canada and I was born in Toronto. Not that that makes any difference because Toronto and Mississauga are next to each other, but that's where I was born. So, and then we'll press continue here. And when I do that, I am going to then click on show the chart. I'm not sure why I did that. Okay, there you go. And so it's going to drive it from as if Aries was my in my first house, my rising sign. This does not break up my houses. It doesn't tell you the life arenas. If you remember the how to create a birth chart tutorial that I have posted already up on YouTube, you'll see that that chart that we created there has different pies on that chart. Those are numbered 1 through 12, and those are the different life arenas. This one does not have that. So this will just tell you where, again, all the planets are by their symbols in terms of the signs of the zodiac and how that lays out. And the other thing it can sort of give you an idea as to how it registers to those pies is that each of the Aries, the Taurus, the Gemini, the Cancer, the Leo, all of the symbols that go through here, these are their natural houses. So Aries is the natural ruler of the first house. Taurus is the natural ruler of the second, Gemini the third, Cancer the fourth, etc., etc. So that's a little bit more information, another bit of a dive to find out some information that maybe you wouldn't know existed, or how to dive a little bit deeper when people tell you, oh, you don't know your birth time, then we can't help you or we can't do your birth chart. There's still so many other ways that you can dive into the energies of the cosmos. And I will put it out there again. If you are interested, you can learn more about my Archetypes of the Zodiac course that it will be launching. Registration opens this week, February 28th. Registration opens. It's very exciting on my YouTube channel. Let's go back to the actual YouTube channel. You will see that there is a brief little update in my stories there. I'm working on some more for this week, but it will walk you through a bunch of stuff related to the Archetypes course. You can find so much more on YouTube in terms of tutorials, and you can connect with me on Instagram as well. Hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Please feel free to message me or send me an email and get in touch any which way for other questions or comments or thoughts, and maybe even suggestions as to what you'd like me to put out there. And I'd be open to checking that out. All right, take care for now.